Hey everybody, thanks so much for tuning in. My name is Joshua Wall with the Crew Real Estate.
I'm Reilly Mitchell from the Crew Real Estate as well.
And we are proud presenting sponsors for Brantford Comic Con. This is the very first Brantford Comic Con. Reilly, when is it? Where is it?
May 10th of this year at Brandland Community Center in Brantford, or BrantfordComicCon.com for more information on it, or on the social media too, right?
So one of my favorite things about being a part of the first ever Brantford Comic Con is that Reilly and I are going to get the opportunity to meet all of our special guests and all of our partners and everybody who's a part of the event first. And what we're hoping to do is interview them and talk a little bit about why they're excited to be here and help you get to know who you're going to get a chance to meet at Brantford Comic Con. So without further ado, let's introduce our very first guest. I've got Steve McGinnis. Steve, thanks so much for being here, man.
Steve, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Small world, because this is actually our second interview.
Yes.
So if you want to go back into the archives a couple of years ago, you can check out Off the Wall, like episode 4, where we interviewed over Zoom, because it was back in the way before times, where we couldn't meet in person. But you're here today, so I'm going to let Reilly start with the very first question. We've got a whole list of questions for our guest today. Reilly.
For sure, yeah. I think to start out, I think the best way to do it is tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and who you are and why we're here today.
Well, my background's pretty much what I am now. Like, I was that kid in grade school. I'd run home after school, throw on a record, and just draw right till dinner. After dinner, boom, draw. Went to school for art and became an artist.
Amazing.
Yep.
Where did you go to school?
First Western, then Fanshawe. And then Conestoga.
Cool.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about, your illustration, your background in it, and a little bit more about like why you draw the way you draw.
Well, I love to capture photorealism. Like I love drawing humans, the darker side, like basically capturing something that not everyone sees constantly and everything. I love capturing that dark side of humanity.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely. I mean, is kind of the lens you look through when you're
constantly
getting inspired?
Yeah. Even if I'm in the lineup at grocery store or whatever, I like looking around, people watching and like picturing them. So
that's wild. That's awesome. Is there a moment that you would consider your big break?
I'd have to say probably I was illustrating a lot of comics and children's novels ages ago. And someone approached me that I used to go to art school with and say, can you do the Texas Chainsaw reunion poster? And this was ages ago. And I was like, yes. And I've always been a horror fan. Like horror's huge in my life. And I jumped at it. I did it. And they had the cast there and Gunnar was still with us and everyone was there. And it just snowballed from there. And that was a huge point.
Wow. Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So for the people that might not know that are planning on coming to the Comic-Con but don't necessarily know what you've worked on, tell us a little bit about what kind of stuff you've done.
Well, I wrote and illustrated my own 3 graphic novels, Rise of the Harvester. I worked on Terrifier 1 and 2, a lot in 2.
Really cool.
Did their graphic novels, did some concept party art for It Part 1. I'm currently working on Circus of the Dead 2. Just if it's a horror film, horror graphic novel, usually I'm part of it.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Okay, I got to know more about that. So, I mean, those are big names.
Yeah.
How did they find you? How did you find them? Is there like a...
He's the man.
I know that, but I mean, like, it's just... Those are some big names. So, I mean, did they see your work and they reached out to you? Do you have an agent? How does all this work?
Horror's actually a pretty small community. We're kind of a small family, and for jokes, after Glenn died on The Walking Dead, for a joke, one night I was up late, I was still kind of traumatized from it, and I did a Scooby-Doo Walking Dead crossover where Thelma got her head back.
By Negan.
Yeah. Okay. And I put it out there, and I went to bed, and I woke up, my phone was exploding, like it went viral. So I thought, whoa, that's pretty cool. And I just watched this new film, Terrifier. And if you know about Terrifier with the hacksaw scene, I reimagined that with the Scooby group. And the director reached out to me immediately and said, hey, this is awesome. I love it. Do you want to do some more art? And Damien and I were back and forth constantly. And that's how I got in. That's simple as that.
And once you're in, you're in.
Yeah. Pretty much.
That's awesome.
And would that be your favorite piece of work you've done, or what would be that thing for you?
favorite.
Too many?
Yeah, there's a lot. I did an Elizabeth Bathroy painting for Diabolic Magazine. And that, I don't know if you know about her. She was this queen a long time ago, and she wanted to extend her life longer, so she would kill young girls and bath in their blood. And so I got an opportunity to paint her in the bathtub with the foot out and like blood all over her and like people hanging, and I really enjoyed that. So
you have done, like, just in the short time, even from when I interviewed you previously, you've done some really interesting things. So the question that they have here is, you know, you've done so much already. If you could do anything you wanted, if you could have a dream project, what would it be?
Oh wow.
Full creative control.
Yeah, full creative control.
Full creative control. Wow. I would like my own spin. I'd like my own spin on the Texas Chainsaw. Like, I would like to be given the rights to it and like revamp it, like, and start it over and make it as gritty and nasty as possible.
Cool.
Like the original. Yeah.
So you would write it as well as illustrate it?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so then who are some people you would work with, you know, on it? I mean, obviously doing it all yourself is probably possible, but maybe not what you'd want to do.
Yeah.
Who would you bring in? Who'd be your dream team? Who'd be your Reilly Mitchell?
I would
You're
say
Joshua Wall.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. I would say for Leatherface, I would like to have Richard Mukes. He was in Rob Zombie's House with 1,000 Corpses and everything. Great guy. Super nice guy, but he's like 7'1", 350, like that menacing appearance and everything. I would have him right away.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel like I'm asking all the questions. I'm sorry, Riley.
No, it's all
There's
good.
lots here.
It's all good. Well, he's talking about creative people that you'd want to work with. There's a question on here, and I think it's very interesting to talk about, especially we're talking about a local con that we're doing here in May. People in Brantford, creative people in Brantford, who would be people that you've worked with or people you'd want to work with in the future that are local?
Wow. I've known Andrew for a long time.
Yeah.
I'd like to work with Andrew. That'd be cool to do like a crossover, like
That'd
with his really cool style, and then like I think it would like play off each other really well.
100%. This room is full of Andrew's stuff.
Yeah.
He's a good friend of the store for sure.
I feel like that's a pretty good segue because we are actually right here in one of the biggest comic book distributor in
Number one in Canada.
Number one in Canada. This is Can Comics, and they are going to be partnering with Riley and I. We are hoping to have the best booth at Brantford Comic Con. So come on out. We're going to be doing all sorts of interviews right here, but huge shout out to Can Comics for letting us film the interviews here. And we're going to be doing some really, I'm talking to the camera over here, we're going to be doing some super exciting things here at Can Comics leading up to Comic Con. So follow them on social media. Make sure you're following Riley and I. Speaking
And
of
Brantford
social
Comic
media.
Con too, because we're going to do a lot of giveaways. We're going to do a whole lot of
Hopefully
fun
you're
stuff,
watching this on the Comic Con page,
Yeah, exactly,
but if you're not
yeah.
following, hit that follow, hit that like, hit that subscribe. If people want to follow you and stay in touch with you, where do they go? What are all your social handles?
Steve McGinnis for Illustration. That's on Insta, Facebook, everywhere.
Amazing.
So Riley was talking about Brantford.
Yep.
Honestly, the fact that you have such an amazing career, you could probably be working anywhere, doing anything. Why are you here in Brantford? What makes you proud to call Brantford your home?
It's small. It's still smaller for a city the size of this. Quiet. Like basically, I can walk around and no one knows me. I'm kind of an introvert. Like I prefer the nighttime if I go out and everything like that. So yeah, I like it.
I like that too. I blend in here. I walk around. Nobody knows who I am.
I can
It's kind
see
of like
that.
super incognito. It's super great. But walking around with Riley, is that Riley Mitchell? Like, wow,
Jeez.
is that Riley?
This guy's pumping my tires here.
Okay, Riley, next. You're
Yeah,
up.
for sure. So, what do you think? So, we're obviously, like I said, Brantford Con, something that we haven't had in this city before. What are you most excited for when it comes to this Brantford Comic Con?
Seeing all the fans come out. Like Brantford is I try and explain it to people. It always has been a nerd mecca. Even when I was a little wee kid, my grandpa used to take me to the wrestling at the Civic Center. You know what I mean? Like, there's always been a nerd culture here, even if it was underground. I think it's, with the Comic-Con finally here, it'll just grow.
Totally. Super exciting, right?
As soon as I saw this pop up on social media, I commented right away, we're in.
Yeah.
This is something I want to be a part of. I've already talked to the organizers and said, like, I can't wait for Brantford Comic Con X. Like, that's how far forward thinking I am. Because the fact that this community doesn't have something like this, and now it does, is just great. Because
It's huge.
That's how it gets started.
Look, we have The Boys being filmed here. We have, like,
100%, yeah. Some
everything,
really
like-
cool stuff.
Yeah.
The number of projects that are happening here in this community through the economic development, they have a whole job position specifically responsible for dealing with agents and dealing with talent scouts. There's so many incentives for filming in Canada, filming in Ontario, and even here filming in Brantford.
Yeah.
And I mean, you go downtown almost any time throughout the spring and the summer, it's constantly shut down for Hallmark movies, or like you said, The Boys was filmed here. That was super cool. Okay, so people who are coming out to Comic-Con, you're going to be there.
Yep.
What can they expect? What are you going to be doing? You're going to have a booth? You're going to be walking around, just signing people's faces? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I'll be signing, babies. I'll be signing anything you bring to me. I'll have all my artwork there. I'll have originals, prints, my comics, everything.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. And how did you find out about Brantford Comic Con?
I think I saw a post one day, but there was a lot of chatter within the nerd community. And I made sure, I wanted to be part of it.
Amazing.
So, yeah.
That's really cool.
Okay.
Aside from your, sorry, Josh.
No, please. I'm so excited.
Aside from yourself, out of the people that have been announced so far, guest-wise for Brantford Comic Con, who are you most excited for?
Yeah, no pressure.
Oh, wow.
You can't name yourself. I'm sorry.
Yeah, me.
I just look in the mirror every day.
Yeah.
Wow. I'd say pretty much everyone right now. It's a great lineup. You know what I mean? It touches on everything. It's not just one group like wrestling or horror comics. It's a really well-rounded lineup. I'm just stoked to be there.
100%.
I'm excited to see everybody too.
Yeah.
Okay, honestly, thank you so much for coming out doing this interview. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Riley, one more time, for anybody who's made it to the end of the video, when is Brantford Comic Con and where?
May 10th of this year, and Brandland Community Center in Brantford. Again, BrantfordComicCon.com or Brantford Comic Con on all social media.
And like I said at the beginning, the crew is super excited to be the presenting sponsor for Brantford Comic Con, but this event wouldn't happen without the incredible organizers, the talented team that are making this happen. So huge shout out and kudos to them. This is Brantford's first ever Comic Con, so make sure you get your tickets, you come out, you share this on social media. We need to support events like this so more stuff like this can happen in our community. We're going to be back with even more guests, so thank you so much for watching, and thanks again for being here. You're a good man. It was great to learn more about 100%. You, and we'll see you at Brantford Comic Con. Take care.